Okay, so picture this, an ancient woodland, thousands of years old, sitting right on the edge of one of the busiest cities in the entire world. Well, that's Epping Forest. And its story of survival is, well, it's pretty incredible. So let's dive in.
Wow. Just look at that number. 10,000 years. I mean, that's how long this forest has been around. It started forming, all on its own as the world warmed up after the last ice age. We're not just talking old. This is literally a living piece of ancient history.
And that's what's so wild about it, right? You have this sprawling, modern metropolis, London, and then boom, 6,000 acres of ancient woods, fields, and wetlands just sitting right there next to it. It's this incredible clash of worlds, the totally wild right up against the completely man-made. Now you can probably guess a forest this big and this old doesn't just sit there for millennia without people getting involved. Its story is completely tangled up with the entire history of power in Britain. And man, has its purpose changed over the years. Way back in medieval times, it was basically a royal playground, right? Nobles hunting deer. They even say Queen Elizabeth I herself hunted here. But then things got serious. The forest became strategic. Those huge, strong oak trees, they were chopped down to build the warships for the Royal Navy, literally powering an empire. But all that use, it eventually brought the forest to a breaking point. By the 1800s, you've got farming closing in. London is just exploding in size. And the forest's very survival, well, it was hanging by a thread. A massive fight for its future was about to kick off. So you had these two totally different ideas for what the forest should be. On one side, you've got developers who just wanted to fence it all off, divide it up, and sell it for a quick buck. But on the other side, you had this growing movement of people saying, no way, this should be for everyone, a place for people to enjoy, a place for nature to be protected. And here's the cool part. This fight wasn't being led by kings or queens this time. Nope, it was just ordinary people. The local communities saw what was happening, They realized their access to this amazing place was about to disappear, and they decided, okay, we're going to fight back. And the incredible thing is, they actually won. This was the absolute turning point, a huge moment that would literally define what this forest was all about forever. And this right here is what came out of that fight, the Epping Forest Act of 1878. And look, this wasn't just some boring piece of paper. It was a promise. It basically said, this forest is now under public protection, and gave it this amazing mission: keep it open for everyone to enjoy for all time. And that's how the forest got its famous nickname, the People's Forest. It wasn't for kings anymore. It wasn't just a lumberyard for the Navy. It was now a shared natural treasure for everyone. So what does all that mean for the forest today? Well, it means we have this incredible, thriving ecosystem, and it's got a few surprises hidden away. Yeah, because of that law from way back when, the forest is now officially protected. It's what they call a Site of Special Scientific Interest, which is basically a fancy way of saying it's super important for conservation. It's this amazing patchwork of different habitats, woods, fields, swamps, which means all sorts of cool, rare plants, like this stuff called butcher's broom, can actually grow there. But the forest also holds scars from a much more recent and much more violent piece of history. See, it's got more than 100 ponds, but a lot of them weren't exactly made by Mother Nature. Any guesses what could have created them? Believe it or not, bomb craters. During World War II, when London was being bombed, some of those bombs fell right here in the forest, leaving these massive holes. Over the years, they just filled up with water, and nature completely took over. So now, these scars of war are these beautiful ponds, just full of life. It's an incredible symbol of how resilient nature can be. And those ponds, they're just one tiny piece of this huge, complicated ecosystem. I mean, just look at the variety here. You've got deer wandering through the woods, grass snakes hanging out by those very same bomb crater ponds, and all these cool plants growing in the water. It really is a whole world unto itself. So 2,400 hectares, or 6,000 acres, what does that actually mean? It means millions of people have this amazing place to go for a walk, ride a bike, just get away from the city. It's basically London's lung, right? A super important connection to the natural world for so many people. So the big takeaway here is pretty clear, isn't it? That fight, led by regular people more than a century ago, has a direct impact on today. Their win wasn't just for themselves, it was for all of us. It's why Epping Forest is still here as the sanctuary for wildlife and for people living side by side. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. The story of Epping Forest is a huge reminder that these green spaces in our cities, they aren't guaranteed. They don't just happen. So it makes you wonder, right? What parks or little bits of woodland in our own neighborhoods might be under threat? And which ones are we willing to fight for to make sure they're protected forever?